all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick Podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick Podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. The Eye Test with Pierre, McGuire, and Jimmy Murphy.
The Stanley Cup winning Colorado Avalanche. And after 22 years, Raymond Mark
The sickest NHL podcast. Brought to you by TCS Customs and Logistics. Moving pieces, delivering peace of mind. It's gonna be sick.
And welcome to another edition of the Eye Test here in the Sick Podcast Network. He is Pierre McGuire. I am Jimmy Murphy. He is looking a lot more tan than me, too, Pierre. Raised down there in Florida, eh?
Oh, you know what?
Color there, my friend. Good for you.
Know, I get up really early in the morning and I try to take care of business early and then, do all my shows, including this one that I love so much.
Yep.
So a little bit of sun, that's okay. Nice. But you got to be careful when you're follically impaired, Jimmy. So I got the lid going all the time. And, you know, the lid that I've been wearing, I'm really grateful for it, too. It was sent to me by the Hobart College hockey team, who just won their third straight national championship. That's right. And so I wear that proudly when I'm running on the beach, and it's good. It's all good. I'm really grateful to Coach Taylor and to one of my old teammates, Cameron Lahead, who's part of the athletic board up there in Geneva, New York. And I'm grateful for the gift. I wear it all the time.
Well, congratulations again to them for another unbelievable season and championship. Pierre, I want to get right into the game last night, and we'll also talk about the game tonight. But last night, you and I spoke about it earlier this morning. I'm sitting there on social. It's early on, and the Oilers are only up 1-0 at this point, and people are already writing the Stars off. The Oilers are going to go, and they're going to win the cup, and they're well on their way, and this is going to be a sweet. Just getting way ahead of themselves. Now, I don't think the Oilers did that. Do I think they lost a bit of their discipline that's been helping them in this playoff run? Yeah. But, Dallas just – I give them a lot of credit because they've done this a few times now, Pierre, where they've been down and they've erased big deficits and come back in games. They don't get stuck in a moment. And, I know that that's what everybody preaches there. Just keep going. Don't dwell on things and just stick to your game plan, stay within your structure. It's so much easier said than done. But I'd say, for my money, Dallas has done that better than anyone this playoffs. And that's why they were able to storm back and take advantage of 3 power plays and cash in on all of them and beat the Oilers 6-3 in game 1.
We agree. But I also think that it's highly irresponsible. And we're not talking about fans here.
No.
We're talking about media members.
Mm-hmm.
Slow down, boys and girls. I'm watching the game with my son here, who's going back to work out west on Saturday. So I'm enjoying my time watching the games with him. And I have to do the CBS. I don't have to, but I am fortunate to do the CBS hits after the games. And so I watch really close. It's like when I was coaching, I'm really paying attention. And my son goes, look at this. And it's from somebody that I really respect in the media. And it's saying, well, Edmonton's got their mojo and they're on their way to the Stanley Cup final. We were 20 minutes into the freaking game. Right? I'm like, what are you doing? Why would you write that? Like, when did this all start? Jimmy, you're my social media person, so I don't, I refer or respect you and what you tell me. Yeah. But my son showed me this because he does it like I guess all the kids do it.
Yep.
And he showed it to me. And I'm like, what the heck is that? Can we just wait till the game's over?
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't seen it like that. That was a whole another degree of looking
is
ahead.
It because so many of them picked Edmonton to win? Is that what it is? And
I don't know. But I'll tell you what, the guy that's about to join us now does the Edmonton Oilers broadcast, and he's very familiar with the team. And not once did I see him get ahead of himself.
He never does.
In his
Jack
broadcast,
never does that.
in his tweets.
No.
And by the way, for people that want to watch, if you're, I don't know, maybe it's work, maybe it's whatever, you're unable to watch a game, an Oilers game, follow our man Jack Michaels here. Edmonton Jack, I believe it is. He can correct me if he's wrong, but we'll bring him on right now. Does a great job of his tweets give you exactly the insight you need to what is going on in the game at that time. Jack, welcome aboard. I was just tooting your horn here saying you great tweets because they're not just, too many of these media folks, Jack, right now just give us updates, right? And if it's somebody that is watching, it's like, yeah, thanks for the obvious. You just pointed out what I saw. But I like your tweets because you're giving behind the scenes. You're giving more in depth of how that play happened. So take us to that game last night and just your reaction as things unraveled there, Jack.
Well, first of all, Pierre, you can tell in my contract negotiations with Jimmy, I've clearly got the upper hand. He's got to say that. I put a couple clauses in there. So pumping my tires for a minimum. And Jimmy, to be honest with you, I think you're a few seconds shy. So let's shore that up for the next time I'm on.
I just want to know what establishment you're in right now, because I spent a couple days in the old Big D. Where are you right now?
Well, my broadcast partners have switched, of course. I'm working with Bobby, and Bobby, his favorite chain on earth is Potbelly's, which is a sub sandwich place that's scattered across the central part of the United States.
Right.
And so when in Dallas, we're going to Potbelly's. I gotta step up for my partner. But as far as the game last night, I think it's basically simple. I think both teams can take a ton of positives. Dallas obviously, put a hurting on Edmonton with respect to draining a little more confidence from that Edmonton penalty killing unit, and potentially Stuart Skinner, although Skinner had, he had run off a pretty significant shutout streak going into that game. But I think Edmonton also legitimately has some reasons to feel good about itself. I don't know how you guys felt about the game, but I honestly felt through 40 minutes, Edmonton had the advantages that a lot of people perceive them to have. Greater depth, faster, believe it or not, and a little more physical. I mean, and it's hard to believe that we're talking about Edmonton as having this increased truculence and depth and antagonists on all four lines, but they do. They have guys that people absolutely despise playing against on all four lines. And I think, Edmonton can take solace in the fact that, hey, if we eliminate the stupid penalties, that's a different game. And that's a game where, you could have really smothered Dallas to the point where draining a little more confidence out of their older guys. The problem that the Oilers now have to deal with is Matt Duchene gets off the schneid. Tyler Seguin pumps in a couple of goals. Granlund chips in with a goal. And the power play feels that much more confident that, hey, it's not just Winnipeg and Colorado we can score against, it's now Edmonton. So that was you let a couple guys that were really struggling for Dallas get up off the deck. And I think for the Oilers, in addition to obviously tossing away a game, it's a best of 7 series. They've been there before. I think they've won 9 series, and in 7 of them they've had to rally from a game back. But the biggest issue that Edmonton's going to have to deal with is now they've breathed a little life into some guys that were really struggling offensively for Dallas.
Jack, you get to see all these teams up close and personal. I'm wondering, because I know the level of both these teams pretty well, how much you see Dallas has changed with the addition of Granlund, the addition of Rantanen, and the enhanced role for Thomas Harley. Because I'm watching from afar, Jack, and I see a big difference, Jack, compared to last year. I do.
Well, I think the high-end weaponry with Rantanen has balanced things out a little bit from a Dallas perspective. Now they've got a guy, and he really didn't factor much into last night's game, to be honest with you. Although you could always say, hey, the threat of him always creates stress on a hockey club. But the cold reality is Rantanen's got 17 points in 5 games, and he's got 3 in the other 9. So he has been a guy that's been especially off what we saw last night with Indiana and New York, I guess he's a bit of a hot 3-point shooter. I mean, he's, when he gets going, he's unstoppable. And then he's been quiet in some other games, and last night was one of them. But I agree with you, Pierre. That's certainly at the high end of their roster. He makes a difference, and Granlund, again, he's got a hat trick in one game, and the other games he's been relatively quiet. Robertson hasn't done much, and up until last night, Seguin and Duchene have been quiet, and that's really a positive development from a Stars perspective. Harley has absolutely taken a step forward, Pierre, but I would say that's somewhat negated by the fact that will Edmonton see peak Miro Heiskanen? Maybe maybe in the second half of that series, but he's kind of working himself back a little bit. For Edmonton, the depth has been – I think Edmonton's got greater depth up front and on the back end, to be honest with you. But not having Ekholm is significant. I do think with Kane and Frederick, theoretically, that adds a punishing aspect, functional toughness that can play, that really tilts the depth in my mind in favor of Edmonton. I mean, look, I think the world of Cody Ceci, but as a 4, it's a little dicey, a little. I like Ceci a ton, but after their top 3, you know, you're Ceci at 4, and they played sparing minutes for Bichel and Labushkin. I think Bichel's going to be a hell of a player, but he's 21 years old. He's in his rookie season, and he's got 45 games of NHL experience. So I think Edmonton's depth should carry the day in this series, but to toss away one like they did last night and to breathe some confidence into some of those Dallas veteran players, that was not a positive whatsoever from an Edmonton perspective. And I know they're a team that, for whatever reason, does not like prosperity, can't help themselves when they're down in a game, in a series. But, you know, against Dallas,
They must be Irish.
I said it last night, Jimmy, and maybe you're talking about this tweet a little bit. I said, look, you know, when you do that against a Dallas club, you deserve exactly what you get.
Yep.
And the Oilers deserved what they got last night, which was nothing.
That's exactly what I was talking about. Listen, before I was coming on here, I was listening to our good friend Mitch Melnick in Montreal, and he played a post-game clip from Draisaitl where Draisaitl said we needed more maturity there. Yeah. And that surprises me, right? Because after the run they had to Game 7 there, you think that maturity would be there.
Well, they're the oldest team in the league, too.
Right. Yeah. So my question to you is he being a little too harsh there? Or did you see signs of reverting back to maybe a team that needed to be more mature in moments?
No, I don't think so, because the guys who took the penalties are Kulak, Kane, and Perry. I mean, They know better. And I think Leon was basically saying, like, he was just irritated they tossed away the game. He knows. But he wasn't necessarily, I think, you know, pointing the finger and stuff like that. He was basically saying what it is. Like, hey, we're a veteran club. We have no business blowing that game the way they did. I mean, you know, it's one thing if Dallas makes a series of plays 5-on-5. It's one thing if you get beat. And I think what he's saying is, you know, I'm irritated that we didn't allow, you know, we didn't get beat. We handed it over a little bit with the penalties. Because I'm telling you what, 5-on-5, I honestly don't think Dallas had much going on. And I think if you looked at the first 2 periods carefully, you'd concur with that. You know, and again, that's a team, Dallas, that if you have those lulls, if you take a couple of silly penalties, they're good enough to make you pay. You can't do this at this time of year. And I think that's what Leon was expressing more than anything else. Like, that's a departure for us. You know, we've won 8 of 9. We had no business giving away that game. And I think that was, if you were asking me to put a cold synopsis on that, that's what I'd tell you. Just general disgust with the whole vibe, not necessarily aimed at a group or a particular guy or two.
I think he was talking about himself on the turnover to Sagan. I do. I think he was mad at himself, Jack. I really do.
And we've seen that from Leon before.
Yeah.
I mean, he's smart enough to know that if he butchers a play, he's
I agree.
Leon is a perfectionist. Leon is a guy who holds himself to the highest of standards. And quite frankly, that's really been the case for the last 5 or 6 years. What's really happened here is that, and I know they get kind of, and Leon's poked fun at himself, but Leon and Connor, you know, they don't mind being the fun police to an extent. There's a standard of professionalism that they expect, and when their team as a whole, you know, whether they contribute to it or not, they're not happy, and they understand that you're not going to go 16-0 in the Stanley Cup playoffs, but to hand over a game, especially at this stage of their careers, they feel is unacceptable. And you know what? Leon and Connor are not the most vocal of guys, but when they say something like that, there's always a purpose. There's always a meaning behind it. and it starts with them, as Pierre notes there.
Hey, Jack, one other question for you, because I know you can't give away too much. How far is Matthias Ekholm from playing, and where's Calvin Pickard in all this?
Well, Pickard is not on the trip. Ekholm is. Ekholm has been skating. He looks good, but he's already been ruled out for game 2. I think, to be honest with you, Ekholm might be there a game or two before Pickard. I think both are available in the back half of this series, not the front half.
Mhm.
And meaning, I don't think there's a guarantee that Ekholm suits up in game 3, but I do think he's a little bit closer than Calvin Pickard. And, I said it, with respect to the goaltending, it's never, and Pierre, you've been in the league a great deal longer than I have, so I'll defer to you on this, but it's never made a ton of sense for me, especially in the Western Conference, that your breakdown is usually 52 starts to 30 for the whole year. And then in the playoffs, it goes to 26 to nothing. That to me has never made a great deal of sense because, if you are a Western Conference goaltender with a dominant goalie, then why don't you play him 65 times during the year? Edmonton did it one time with Cam Talbot, and I don't think he's ever been as good again. I mean, it's a grind. It's a grind when you perform, 65, 70 starts in the Western Conference. So the grand scheme of this, guys, what I'm getting at is, I said when Calvin Pickard was on a 6-game roll, Stuart Skinner's gonna get a chance to play.
Yeah.
And I would tell you this, I believe Edmonton's got 8 more wins to get, and I would not bet that Stuart Skinner gets all 8 of them. I just wouldn't. And that's not a reflection on him. That's a reflection of the way the Oilers are managing their goaltending, and that's a reflection of the fact that they probably don't have, that absolute, lockdown number 1 where it's an automatic you're penciling him in. Having said all that, I always go back to a final you covered, Pierre. I mean, 2011, I'm sorry. If I'm Vancouver, in retrospect, what would have been the problem of giving Corey Schneider a start in game 4 or game 6 with the way Luongo had struggled on the road in that
He should have played there in that building. I said it on the broadcast, Jack, because he played at Boston College. He knew the rink from the bean pot. He knew the rink.
And Luongo wasn't playing that well on the road.
Yep.
He knew it. I said it at the time.
I remember that, Pierre.
Jack, totally couldn't agree with you more. And I know Jimmy does remember. I did say that, Jack. So I'm totally with you 100% on that. I completely agree.
For sure. So obviously the PK was not where they wanted it last night. What has made the PK better though overall, and what do they need to get back to doing in the next game?
Well, I think if you look at the goals that went in, I mean, the first one is, you could say that Janmark or Nurse could have just stepped in front of that shot and blocked it with no problem. On the other hand, when, you're defending that side, the goaltender's got to be responsible, I would think, for the short side. And then deflections on the far side are the responsibility of the defenseman. And again, I hesitate getting on.
No, you got it. You're spot. You got it. You got it.
You know me. I don't like to pretend I'm Mr. X's and
No,
O's.
you got it right on.
Yeah,
you're right.
So I'd say that's one. And then there's, I think the second one is a perfect storm of just a beautiful screen by Jason Robertson that Pierre, as much respect as I have for the players, sometimes I'll say, okay, was the timing that brilliant, or did you get a little bit fortunate there? Because, I mean, timing-wise, you could not have tapered that screen down to a more perfect split second.
Yeah.
And then the third one, I think, Stuart Skinner would tell you, he's got to do a better job of location and battling through some traffic. I think the fact that there was traffic, I think, took himself out of the play for just a split second, and it cost you. So, when I look at those 3 goals, that's what I saw. Penalty killing wise, and maybe it's silly, but I know the penalty kill, it got off to a lousy start at the beginning of the year. I think it gave up, 7 goals on the first 8 shots on net that happened. And your penalty kill never recovers from that. As Pierre knows, once you bury yourself on the kill, you don't come back. You're always going to be at best middle of the pack in the league. And, I think that it's a small sample size. I think it's a cyclical type of situation to begin with. I don't think you need to reinvent the wheel, quite frankly. I think you make a few tweaks and you move forward.
I have a pretty good idea where you're staying. Don't tell the address, but I have a pretty good idea. You're probably not walking distance to the rink, correct?
I do walk to the rink, even though, Pierre, I have to say, I get a beat on by the time. The walk to the rink for the game, I get a beat on. The walk home, I usually can avoid sweating profusely.
I have a pretty good idea of where you're staying. So here's my question. In light of what's coming out about the TV ratings in the United States, how much of a buzz is there around the series and around the building?
Well, as you know, Edmonton, they're hardcore. The Oiler fans are, hungry for a championship. The city of Edmonton responds to Stanley Cup playoff hockey in a way that, I think is unicorn-esque, to be honest with you. I really do. It's a special place to live. It's extremely rewarding for what we do because, everything you do, they care, and they're paying attention and they're paying attention to, the ratings, they're paying attention to what the players are doing. They're paying attention to what the matchups look like. They weigh in with all kinds of opinions on all kinds of different minutiae about the game. It's a captivating market to be in for that reason, because what you're doing and whatever you might be contributing. Apologize here.
They're coming to get him.
Yeah,
They're actually coming to get his partner.
That's a ride home.
Maybe I shouldn't get the sub well done next time. Maybe I'm the cause of that. In any event, bottom line is it's a city where what you do matters, and I think it's as compelling a city for that as any in the National Hockey League. It's a great fan base. The days are long now. You come outside the rink and it's, look at this. Holy cow, they got the whole force.
Uh-oh.
They got the whole force going, but it's great. It's the downtown is thriving right now. Everyone's in a festive mood after the games, before the games. I'll be curious to see what the Sunday 1:00 matinee looks like, because for evening games, obviously the fans are usually well oiled. They're going to have to go to, I guess, to the breakfast menus if they want to be in mid-game 4 for Sunday's game 3. But yeah, it's just fantastic. Pierre, you've been there. It's a magnificent sports city. And as far as passion for the Oilers, I'm sorry, I get it. I know there are several important markets in the league, but I don't think anything exceeds what goes on in Edmonton at this time of year.
Jimmy, I've never had a bad trip there. I've been going to Edmonton since 1988. A lot. Never had a bad trip.
I haven't been there yet. I'm going there next year for sure.
Jimmy, I got to tell you, the people during the COVID and when we were in the bubble, I was there for 2.5 months.
Oh, that's right.
And I'm just telling you, for all the people that worked, and Jack knows, they were unbelievable. Everybody there, the volunteers, everybody was amazing.
And it's emblematic of the city. It's salt of the earth people. It's people who just want to talk hockey. They're not intrusive. Everyone says, oh, even a guy like you can't go anywhere. You're not as, maybe recognizable as the players, but people know who you are. But it's funny. They do it in a way where they just kind of want to be heard, and they want you to know that they're paying attention. And that's all it is. They quickly they get their fill. I spend 45 seconds maybe in a conversation, and they're happy. Like, all right, good. All right. He says we're going to be okay. Everything's good. And I just think that's awesome.
Dr. Michaels. Here, sit on my couch. I got
exactly. It's really been a great city to raise a family and just have such passionate people around the sport.
Quickly before we let you go, Jack, any lineup changes tomorrow? Anything we should know of?
I don't think so. I talked to Chris Knobloch this morning, and he feels, again, there's
similar to you.
It's a huge negative. Look, you're down 1 game to none, so I'm not trying to write it off, but I think Edmonton is at the point, and so is Dallas for that matter. I mean, that's what must be stated here. We're talking about two desperate, hungry clubs that have been around it for the last half decade and haven't won it yet. So they're knocking on the door. Pierre's old enough. I know you are too, Jimmy. But we're old enough to remember that Oakland-Minnesota Super Bowl. Super Bowl 11, I think it was. Two teams that had been around it, and one was going to walk away with something. I think these two teams feel the same way. Their experience is roughly the same. Their heartache is roughly the same. And I think both teams think it's going to be a long series. So, again, you kick away game one, but I think Chris Knobloch feels that, hey, you eliminate some of the, quite frankly, foolish penalties, reckless penalties. And there's not much to nitpick about the overall team game.
With you on
Jack,
that.
we love having you on. You're such a fountain of information. You're a true gentleman. Do me one favor. Please say hello to Paul Coffey for me and say hello to Mark Stewart for me. Two real good guys. Really, really good guys.
You bet. Yeah, two more salt of the earth guys.
Thanks,
we all know Koff is an elitist. He's not
all you got to tell Koff is champion coach at Mario's fantasy camp. Just tell him McGuire.
I will. I think I told him that last time, Pierre. And the look of disgust that comes across his face is hard to describe in this forum. He's
good stuff.
Koff's a beauty.
You tell Murph said hi to Stewie too, for sure.
Will do.
All right, have a good one. There's
Cheers,
Jack
always
Michaels
a pleasure.
joining us here on the Eye Test on the Sick Podcast Network. He's a classic, I'll tell you that.
Well, no, he should be doing the games on TV.
He should. I was surprised that when that happened, they switched him over the radio and
I don't schedule stuff for networks, but I worked for two big networks for a long time. Like, that's just not smart.
No, and you know what I like about him is he tells it like it is, and he doesn't have his own agenda. He's just telling you what he sees there. He's doing his job. And
he's an American kid
going on, right?
I love what you just said, Jimmy. He's an American kid who's so proud to call Edmonton home.
Yeah, that's awesome, isn't it?
It's really, and I'll tell you what, there are not a lot of people that speak the way he does. And I have so much respect for him. And, he and Bob Stauffer are really good on the radio. He and Louis DeBrusque are outstanding on TV. And Jimmy, how many, I watch all their games. Those guys are good. They're really good. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I just wish the TV people would wake up a little bit.
I'm with you. Well,
I
Pierre,
can't say much more than that because I don't want to come across as oh, he's ripping on them. He's mad. He's not doing it. It has nothing to do with that. I never brought my name up. I'm telling you, that guy should be on.
I'm with you on that.
He should be on.
I'm with you on that. Well, Pierre, as you know, I told you I spoke to somebody, a good source that has knows what's going on with all that, and it was surprising. Just it works with the league, and it was surprising just to not hear any admission of it. It was almost like pretending that this isn't going on, and yet, the ratings are right there. You can't argue the numbers.
Here's the problem now. Used to be every day in the playoffs, the number would come out.
Yeah,
and they've avoided that. I don't know how they conveniently avoided it, but they have.
Is this the first one during the playoffs here?
This is the first one I've seen. Now there may have been others. But here's what I'll tell you.
So.
Alan Walsh has been on this show. He's a friend of Jimmy's. He's a friend of mine. And he is an amazing agent. He does an unbelievable job for his clients. Amazing job. When he put out something today about this, that got a lot of people's attention because nobody was talking about this.
And want to let people know, too, remember. So Alan, as he said, as an agent, he works with players. Players make money off the ratings. They get a share of that. The more money they make, the more money he makes. He's not benefiting from going out there and pointing this out. It's not like he's getting paid to do this or he's going to profit off it. If anything, it's going to go the other way for him. So it's the truth, and we need to address it. And there's nothing wrong with that. It happens, right? Sometimes things don't work. So let's learn from it and improve. And that's what I don't understand right now, Pierre. And I'm not going to single out names. I'm not going to get really into it, but it's just this refusal from the powers that be to acknowledge what's going on. That's what gets me.
All I know is I'm pumped to watch the game tonight. Can't wait to watch it. Carolina, Florida. This is a must-win. Like, this is Game 7 for Carolina.
Yeah.
This is Game 7 for Carolina. You know, I have the honor and the privilege of working the post game for CBS.
Yep.
Can't wait to do that.
Either way,
Go
ahead.
Go.
I was going to say, I want to tell everybody too, speaking of some of your other broadcast hits, Pierre will be ramping up this game at 4:40 Eastern on the Jim Rome Show.
Yep.
Really excited to watch you on there, Pierre. And as he said, he will be on CBS post game right after the game live. Both of them live hits, so check that out after this.
Romy's amazing. I've been doing it with Romy.
Yeah, I was wondering when you're going to get back on with him.
You know,
I love that time.
You know, it was cool. I remember doing, like, I want to say it was like 09, 08, somewhere in there. And I got a call from one of his producers, and I thought it was a gag call. And, you know, back then I was never home. I was on the road all the time. I was working for 2 networks, TSN and NBC. And the guy said, "Would you come on with Jim Rome?" I said, "Is this a prank?" I said, "I watch Jim Rome all the time." Like, and the guy goes, "No, it's not a prank." I said, "Okay, I'll come on." And we've had this relationship ever since. But I remember the 2010 Olympics like it was yesterday. And Romy and I want to say we did a hit like every other day at the Olympics. It was awesome to be on with him. Jimmy, he loves hockey. The guy loves hockey. It's unbelievable how much Jim.
I didn't realize that until I watched with you on the last time you were on there. I didn't realize he was a big hockey guy, but he is.
He loves hockey. He's amazing. So
yeah.
Anyways,
it's good stuff. Couple topics before we get over to our Q&A, Pierre. I want to talk about. One is we never spoke about it. Don Sweeney getting his extension in Boston for 2 years there, and also telling Steve Conroy a day after that, I think it was yesterday actually, in a one-on-one, that they are no longer waiting for any coaches that are still in the playoffs to get permission to interview and then interview. One of those coaches that everybody had been talking about was Misha Donskoff there. So it appears that will not be happening. But one name we keep hearing, Pierre, Marco Sturm. Why do you think he would be a good fit for the Boston Bruins?
He's a former Bruin. Donnie would know him really well. He's coached internationally as a head coach, won a bronze medal or a silver medal, at the 2018 Olympics. I was there to broadcast that. Probably should have been a gold medal if it hadn't been the Kirill Kaprizov show after an icing by Dennis Seidenberg's brother. But the Germans were really good in that Olympics, and Marco was a big part of it. Marco's had really good success, Jimmy, as a head coach in the American Hockey League. This is a roster that's going to need some love and some tenderness. And Marco's I think a thoughtful coach. He's a hard coach when he has to be, but I think he's a thoughtful coach. I don't think he's a drill master based on what I've seen and what I've heard. So I think he's kind of a good fit for what they're about.
Yeah. And it also tells me too, Pierre, if that's the type of coach they're looking for, and I'm not criticizing, nothing wrong with it. That's the direction I think they should be going in. It means maybe there's a little more realistic approach as to what this coming season should be about, as opposed to what we heard in that end of the season presser where they were talking a deep run into the playoffs. If that happens, so be it. That's great. Nobody's saying you shouldn't try for that or aspire to it, but maybe there seems to be a more grasp of where they truly are right now, if that's the type of guy they're bringing in. Would you not agree?
Agreed. And you said something I heard yesterday. I wasn't on the air with you, but I heard you say it, and I thought it was really good. They had to get Sweeney done, so that whomever the next coach would be
knows they're secure.
Knows there's this guy that's hiring them is actually still going to be there.
Right.
They're going to be able to form a relationship. So I thought that was a really good point by you, Jimmy. My biggest thing with Donnie, a lot of the same voices, Jimmy. It's a lot of the same guys that have been there a long time. And sometimes when that happens and things aren't going well, they don't just fix themselves overnight. Sometimes it's better to bring in a different voice. And the coach, just so everybody, the fans out there know, the coaches don't pick the rosters in the NHL.
Right.
They do not pick the rosters. The GM, the president, the director, player personnel, those guys pick the roster. So,
yeah, I'm with you on Pierre. And it goes back to what you and I have said nonstop. And it's not just about this team. It can never hurt to have an advisor of sorts. It doesn't have to be this new thing where everybody's, and this is a good segue, the president of hockey operations and all that. Just a Ray Shero type to come in and kind of say, hey, you might want to look at this a little differently. Have you noticed this about what you've been doing with that part of the lineup? And I love that. Just a different voice, a different perspective.
Yeah.
We're not calling for anybody to lose their job.
No,
We're just
we don't
calling
want-
to say, hey, let's go outside the box and listen to what other people are saying. That's all.
So the way I've tried to approach this with a lot of different people in the hockey business is, how much is a home playoff gate worth to you? And I'm going to say most of the teams will tell you between, in the first round, $2 and $4.5 million a gate, because they have to give money back to the league. That's just the first round. That's how it works. There's a percentage that goes. So if you pay somebody, I don't know, Jimmy, let's say $300,000, what is that off of $4 million
Right.
for one game?
Yeah.
Like, what is that? What is that in the equation?
Nothing.
It's zero.
And the input could be invaluable.
What happens if you go to the third round?
Yeah.
It's millions of dollars. It's tens of millions of dollars. I've tried to explain this. And one owner who I think has followed it got it, and his team has done okay.
Yep.
I'm waiting for the check, but it's done okay.
Yep. I'm with you on that. All right. And speaking of president of hockey operations, the Toronto Maple Leafs officially have granted Brendan Shanahan permission to talk to the New York Islanders about that position with that team. There's some out there saying it also could be a dual position as GM as well.
That'd be a mistake. I'll say that right now.
Yes. What I will say about this, and I'm not saying that he can't go in and help the Islanders by any means. I just look at it like I saw our good friend Chris Botta posted a text from somebody who was telling him how hiring Shanahan could help the Islanders. And the main theme of it was he can attract free agents because of name recognition.
Really?
This struck the light bulb went off when I heard that, Pierre.
Mm-hmm.
And here's a question I'm going to ask you, and I'm not going to specify any names or teams or anything. Are teams putting too much stock into name recognition as opposed to results and productivity?
Yep. And I'll tell you this right now. You can think that. Nothing wrong with thinking that, because I think Brendan does cut a wide swath through the league. He's a name brand that the league had worked for them for 5 years. The Leafs have had there for over a decade. And he's a big personality. He's a Hockey Hall of Famer. Everything that Chris says is true. And here's where I can be Debbie Downer. How to go on the Stamkos negotiation.
Mm-hmm.
And I can go deeper if you want, but I'll just use that one because it's a high-profile one.
Yep.
Name brand recognition had nothing to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it had anything to do with the Islanders.
No.
And this is just one, and Brendan knows, like Brendan and I have had a bunch of talks over time. I respect him a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I just do. He was a really good player. And he was a winner, and he's in the Hall of Fame. How could you not respect that? But this is important to say. When I hear that getting him, that gets you Mitchell Marner, or that gets you, this player, or that gets you that. I'd be willing to bet if Brendan wanted to show his travel logs that he wouldn't spend a lot of time in Swift Current, Saskatoon, Brandon, Manitoba, North Bay, Ontario, Ottawa, to watch junior games. I'd like to know where people formulate their opinions that Brendan's the guy running the scouting staff. I don't believe that to be true.
Yeah.
And if I'm wrong, I will apologize immediately, and I will take Brendan out for dinner.
Yep.
I mean it.
Yep.
You know me. You know the way I am.
I know you are. You've
I'm
admitted
not
you're wrong on this show.
But I just can't. People have to understand that. Running a hockey team and running a scouting department are two way different things.
Mm-hmm.
People have no idea how different they are.
Yeah. So I think the one thing, and part of this I've learned from you, Pierre, too, and I just say to own, and I'm not just talking about the Islanders, I'm talking to any ownership group out there. Realize, as Pierre just said, it's a lot deeper than just a popularity contest. It's much deeper than that, and you got to be careful with that.
So here's what I would also say. John Collins worked at the NHL when Brendan was there.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a relationship there.
There is. Yep.
That's good. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. John Collins has a lot going on with the Islanders, more than I think most people thought when he left to go work there or to buy part of the ownership group.
Mhm.
Mr. Malkin, who's the principal owner, he doesn't live on Long Island. He lives in London. You know, his production of wealth doesn't come from the United States. It comes from European and Chinese entities.
Right.
He owns an amazingly successful company called Value Retail, amazingly successful. So, you know, he may want a big presence around his team, but I think if they were to do what you said before, Jimmy, make him a general manager and president, I think that's a big ask. I'm not sure that he can do that.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see there. I think you definitely one person in each position, and then they work together.
That would be different, and I would totally buy in on that.
Yep.
As long as the guy they bring in, the manager, understands there's a lot of fixing that has to happen there. I get people, well, you got this player, we got this player. You got nothing. When's the last time you won a Stanley Cup? 1980s.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have anything.
Yep.
Get real. Like I love the Islander fans are amazing. They are, Jimmy, the passion those people have is unbelievable.
And Pierre, what do they get? They got a lot of work to do below the NHL level.
Well, their farm team in Bridgeport's one of the worst in the American Hockey League.
They do have some young guys coming. We won't deny.
And we're the first people to expose those young players.
Yep, exactly. But
they probably got 6 A- to A+ prospects. That's a lot.
Yeah,
that's a lot. And they're all different positions. And obviously they're drafting first overall this year. So they're you know, whomever's getting that job, you're dealing from a position of strength, not from a position of weakness.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, you know, when Ray Sherrill took over New Jersey, he was dealing from a position of weakness. That's one of the most amazing, and nobody ever gave the guy credit.
No.
You go look at where that team was when he got the job and where it was when he left.
Yep.
And what
he set the table, Pierre.
And he set the table for Tommy.
He set the table.
Unbelievable. Like, I'm just telling you. So the Islanders are not a bad team to take over. And I say that with huge excitement in my voice.
Yep, I'm with you on that. All right, let's get to the sponsorships right now, and then we'll get to the Q&A. Let me tell you about TCS Customs and Logistics. There you go. Unlock the full potential of your shipping operation with TCS Customs and Logistics, from around the corner to around the world. Flatbeds to air freight, customs clearance to drawback consulting. TCS is a one-stop shop for all things transport, moving pieces and delivering a peace of mind. For a no-obligation customs or freight quote, contact sickpodcast@shippedtcs.com. Again, that is sickpodcast@shippedtcs.com. And, of course, our great gambling sponsors, Betway. You can go right now all the way with Betway, and you can still, if you're a new member, and sign up for membership right now, get up to $200 credit, even if your first bet loses. So go right to that QR code right in front of you if you're watching, or go to the details section on the website and create your new account to redeem the welcome offer. Terms and conditions apply. The offer is not available in Ontario. You must be 18 plus, and you must bet responsibly. Let's go to the picks of the day.
It's time for Sick Picks, brought to you by Betway.
All right. Well, like Pierre said, this is a game 7. And I agree with him, for the Carolina Hurricanes here in game 2, against the Florida Panthers. The Panthers took game 1, pretty convincing fashion as well. And, you know, Pierre, as I was thinking about the Panthers over the last couple of days since that win in game 1, they remind me a lot of the New England Patriots in their dynasty days, because no matter what they do, they still don't get a lot of love from the odds makers. And surprisingly, after that game 1 win, they're underdogs again. I don't know what the odds makers were watching in game 1, but this team was far superior than the Carolina Hurricanes. So I don't understand. I get maybe you think they're going to have a bounce back game, and it does mean a lot for Carolina, but I'm just looking at the trend right now, and I'm looking at the vibe of both teams. And I just see Florida Panthers are going to continue to silence the odds makers and the doubters. And that's why I like them to go up 2-0 on the road in Carolina. They win it on the money line, plus 114. I'd also tell you, if you want to look at a prop, Go to Anton Lindell for an anytime goal at plus 450. He tends to get some pretty key goals. I see one happening tonight. All right, let's get to the Q&A. Kevin McClafferty, your favorite Isles fan here. Hey, Kevin, now we know Shanahan is in play for the president of hockey operations position with Bergevin and Darsh also waiting. Where do you guys see this thing heading? I think, based on what we're hearing, maybe it could be just him taking both positions. I don't know yet. I don't know specifically, but I'm just kind of following the reports you're hearing, Kevin. I haven't seen anything to say that Darsh or Bergevin are out of the picture yet, so I won't comment on that yet, but I do tend to think that Shanahan will wind up there in one way or another.
There's too much out there. I agree with Jimmy. I think Brendan's going there. I think the league has actually endorsed this, which is good for Brendan and obviously really good for the Islanders because I do think they need a presence in that geographical position that is the tri-state area. A lot of people be talking about it, which creates buzz, which is something they need after some disappointment, obviously not making the playoffs this year. In terms of what happens with Bergevin and what happens with Darsh, the reason why I would say Bergevin has a bit of an advantage, teammates with Shanahan in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
So there's already
interesting.
They've already established a relationship that is hard to break once you've been in a dressing room with the guy.
And yet it's interesting. The media seems to think it's going to be Darsh, so I find that interesting there.
Well, it could be. Yeah. What happens if it's both of them?
Yeah, could be. But I'm with you, and that's why I love talking to you, Pierre, is because you do a great job at connecting the dots, and that's a good connection there. All right, next question. Alex Ivanovsky, what are your thoughts on Rudy? I don't pronounce the last name. Gamond. As a goalie prospect, I know he did really well in the Q this year. Will he be better than Casa or Augustine potentially? I haven't seen him play, Alex. I'll defer to Pierre if he has.
Hard to say whether he's going to be better than Augustine or Casa. He's obviously done really well, though. He had a real good year. Let's give it some time. The one thing I'd say is I was surprised Augustine went back to Michigan State.
Yeah,
I was really surprised. Yeah. I thought they'd take him out. Casa would be the backup in Detroit. They put Augustine and Carter Guylander into Grand Forks. Mm-hmm. Not Grand Forks, Grand Rapids. Sorry, Grand Rapids. And then they go from there. But they haven't done that. So, yeah.
Pierre, it's interesting. We were talking about this the other day with that the goalie situation in Detroit, right? It's like they've got all these guys coming, but they don't have that one guy there. You know what I mean?
I do. I know exactly what you mean.
It's until they do, I don't see them making the playoffs. I just don't.
Well, they're in a hard division.
I know, but is it do you think they're not going to put? I feel like Yzerman hasn't really made a huge effort to go out and get the guy at the NHL level because he has those guys coming, right? So he doesn't want to commit to a contract at the NHL level because, these guys are on their way, but they're not there yet. And you have to make the playoffs this year. You have to.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not even going to try to pretend to read his mind, but I'd just say that's part of what they have to figure out this summer.
Yeah.
It is. That's going to be part of the problem or the part of the solution for them.
Yep.
They got to figure it out.
I'm with you on that. All right, next question. Paul Cormier. Hi, guys. Another great show. Pierre, I know you stay busy during the hockey season. What do you do after the season is over to decompress? Season never really ends for Pierre.
I stay at it pretty good, but I like to golf, Paul. I'm not going to lie. Been fortunate. My wife and I both grew up north, so we have a home up north that we spend a lot of time at, and we're almost finished building a home down south. So we're figuring that out too. But I spent a lot of time working with kids at the rink, and I like to golf.
There you go. All right, next question. Alex Ivanovsky, Elliot Friedman reported Bowen Byram might be on the move from Buffalo. What teams do you see might be interested? Yeah, Alex, I think we brought this up a few weeks ago too. I was starting to hear things about him selling his condo there or whatever. I don't know. I was trying to figure out who would be a good fit.
Rangers would be one.
Yeah.
Rangers
okay.
Would be one. Chicago might be one. They got a lot of young guys, but he's got a little bit more experience than some of their young guys. They got a new coach coming in now. Congratulations to Jeff
That's
Blashill.
right. We didn't talk about that.
I talked to one of his new assistants today via text, Michael Pekka. I'm really happy for Michael. And Michael will do a really good job with those young center icemen in particular. We saw what he did for Washington, and we saw what he did for the Rangers, and he'll do the very same thing for Chicago.
Watch those face-off
Yeah,
percentages.
the face-off
Way
numbers.
up.
That's one of the things, Jimmy. You do all those betting things.
Yep.
I don't know if they have those at prop bet, but
They
that's
don't
one,
yet. There you go.
That's one I would bet on right there for Pekka, with Pekka going there. So I think that's something to watch. But I think Chicago could be. I think Vancouver could be. He's a BC kid.
Mhm.
I hate to say it, but his dad was a good player. His dad was an Islander. So I could see maybe that. I don't know. Hard to say. We're going to find out a lot more at the draft. I think we're going to find out a lot about the draft.
Pierre, one thing I'll say too, I hope for him, I hope he can just stay in one place for a bit and finally get his footing. You know what I mean? He's, like you said, he's still a young kid. He's got a ton of potential.
He needs his help, Jimmy. Like he hasn't. I don't know how healthy he's been. I really don't know.
Yeah. All right. Next question. Bill Van Vagel. Hey guys, which of the following would best help the Habs as a UFA as a third line center? Nico Sturm, Yanni Gord, Mikkel Granlund, or Robbie Fabry?
I'd take Granlund.
Granlund. Yep. I wouldn't mind Sturm either. I'd be interested to see if Florida keeps
Sturm's not going to give you the offense, but Sturm's a big kid who can skate and he can win faceoffs and kill penalties. And he's a zero maintenance player.
Yep.
Saw him play at Clarkson.
Very coachable, right?
Very coachable. Saw him play at Clarkson. He's represented by Matt Cater. Know the player really well. Don't know the person, know the player. Granlund, I know the person, I know the player. Granlund gives you more offensive pop. And whatever happens, I don't know. I don't even know if he's going to become available. Who knows? Dallas may just say, we like this too much. You're staying here with all the Finns. We don't know. We'll see.
Right. All right. Next question. Bill Van Vagel again. How do we remember Max Pacioretty's career? What it was or what it could have been?
I thought good. I have no problem with Max's career. Max had a good career. Max was – hey, how many people could say – I grew up in New Canaan, Connecticut. I went to the University of Michigan. I also went to Taft School, and I was a captain of the Montreal Canadiens. That just those things make it a heck of a career. Exactly. And then you say played in the World Junior for Team USA, played in the Olympics for Team USA. Like that's an amazing career.
Yeah. You know what?
And look at the numbers. Like he put up some big numbers in Montreal. He put up some huge numbers.
Yeah, you know what the big thing too, before he got bounced in the playoffs too, people were saying, hey, where was his physical play when he was in Montreal? Why didn't he do that? Did they watch the games then? Because I went back after that and I looked, and he let in hits a lot of times. Like
but part of that is
physical.
He had a different role too.
Yeah,
there are not a lot of guys that are body slamming guys. They're being counted on to score 30 to 40 goals. They're just not. Right. I mean, there are not a lot of guys like that. Those guys are valuable. Like Brady Tkachuk's a valuable guy.
Yep.
Svechnikov in Carolina is a valuable guy. Those guys are hard to find. Rantanen, they're hard guys to find. Like they don't fall off trees.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. All right, next question. Bill Van Vagel, will the NHL ever go to or back to a 2-3-2 playoff format?
I think they should turn it over to the teams to decide that. So in the East Coast League, I know in the American League, they do that when they get the best of sevens. They go 2-3-2. Basketball, I think, does it. NBA. They did it a lot when Detroit was in the Western Conference. That and Nashville still in the West. Those guys in the playoffs, it was tough. That was a grind. But yeah, I think they should make it up to the team.
When did they start that, Pierre, in the AHL?
When it goes to the 7 games. Because the first round they played 2 out of 3. Now they play 3 out of 5. So Montreal's up 2-1 over Rochester. They got to make a decision. They play their game 4. If they win, the series is over. Then you move on.
Right.
After this round in the American League, it goes to best of 7.
Okay, but no. When did they decide that they can choose the format?
That I don't know.
Okay, because that was new to me. I didn't realize it.
They do that.
Val chose that.
I think because of the travel.
Yeah, I mean, I like that a lot.
You had. I could be wrong in this, but you had last year. I know you had Hershey, and you had Coachella Valley in the final. Like,
Yeah.
do you know how hard it is to get from Hershey to Palm Springs? It's not easy. You're not taking a bus, I can tell you that.
Planes, trains, and automobiles. Cue the John Candy. All right, next question. Wolf Beans the Third. Wolf Beans the Third. Hey Pierre, you are one of my favorite. I am going to college right now to become a GM and scout in the future. Good for you. What would you say is the best way to apply for those kind of jobs? Almost have my master's.
You got to start at a level where people will respect your resume. So whether you start at the USHL, whether you start in major junior, whether you do some bird dogging for European pro teams, there's a lot of things you can do, but you got to get your resume out there. You got to get in the rink, spend time. Don't be afraid to say hello to people, shake hands, but you're going to probably have to start at a lower level and work your way up, but you can do it. 100% you can do it. And I would encourage anybody that's got passion for the game to do that. It's an amazing way to make a living. You can really impact a lot of people's lives and feel really good about yourself. So I loved it. It's never been, I still do it to this day. You know, I started a long time ago. Can't believe it, Jimmy. Started 40 years ago doing this.
That's crazy, huh?
I know. Damn,
Wow.
I'm old. Damn, I'm old.
Nah, blue flies, my man. All right, next question. Alex Evnowski, Jimmy, call me crazy, but I bet big money on the Bruins either drafting McQueen or Merkta with their first round pick. They love size. Do you agree or disagree? It seems two perfect fits for them. I don't know enough about the second kid there, but yeah, McQueen, I know, and I've heard them liking him, and yeah, I could see that. They definitely love size. They want to get somebody like that, so could be. But right now, I think it's anyone's guess what they do, and I think
They
that's
got. Hey, look, I'm not trying to again be Debbie Downer, but they took Letourneau in the first round last year. They can't. They got to make sure that kid, they got to make sure that kid pans out. They got to make sure, boy, because if they bust Ola again this year, they're busting out for a long time. And I'm not saying Letourneau's busting, but they got work to do with him. I watched them a lot. They got
a long way away.
They got, look at, if you're a first round pick and you don't score one goal in a college season playing on it, one of the top 3 teams in the country, you got work to do.
All right, next question. P, question: do you think Laval should stick with Primo after his great game, or continue with him splitting with Fowler?
Well, all I'll say is I'm not in the dressing room, and I don't know how the players are feeling right now. But I'll tell you one thing: they're playing well. That Florian Jack guy was something else last night again, and we've talked about him on this show for a long time. I think he's an NHL player. Luke Tuck, I think, is going to be an NHL player. Owen Beck's an NHL player. They got a lot of guys going there right now. Pascal's done a really good job. Pascal Vincent. It's hard to say who you should play. Like, the coach has a better feel than we would. We're too far away from it, but Primo was good.
Hey,
Primo was good.
It's a good choice to have.
He outdueled Levi. Like, he had they're 2 Northeastern guys in net facing off against
That's
one
right.
another.
There we go.
So.
All right, next question. Zahal, Pierre, what is Laval doing that's making Levi look shaky to an extent in this series? He hasn't had a good game. He's got just a 900 save percentage.
Yeah, it's not just him, though. It's the defense. They've got them running around a lot. Laval can play a 4-line attack. I think they wear people down. I talked about Florian. I talked about Luke Tuck, Simoneau. Like, they've got a good lineup, Laval. I'm not surprised that they're doing this. And I think they wear guys down. Like, Zach Metz is a really good defenseman for Rochester. He doesn't look as good as what I've seen. I think part of that, he's just getting worn out. And I think that's part of the problem for them. So one of the things I see on Devon is they're making a move a lot laterally. And I think that can make you tired too.
Yep. All right. Next,
physically.
what do we got? Next question. Mike, if you guys had to create one line, 3 forwards, 2D, 1 goalie with the remaining players in the playoffs, what would be that line? I'm going to need a day to get back to you on that. But it's a great question.
I won't. I think I could do it.
Do it right now? All right.
I'm going to try to do it right now.
Do it right now.
I'm going to take.
Wait, put that back up. Is it teams that are still alive or teams that made
teams that are still playing right now.
Okay.
So I'm going to take Sasha Barkov as my centerman. I'm going to keep Rantanen on one of the wings. I got 2 Finns, and I'm going to put Draisaitl on the other wing. And then on defense, I'm going to have Miro Heiskanen. He can play left or right, even though he's a left shot. So I'm going to have Miro Heiskanen, and I'm going to have Nico Mikkola
Ooh.
on the left side.
And who's
So
your
I'm going
goalie?
to play his. So you see the flow? I got a lot of Finns involved, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then my goalie's going to be Sergei Bobrovsky.
Oh, wow.
That's my team.
I love your up front line, but I'm going to replace McDavid. I'm going to replace Barkov with McDavid.
You can.
Okay.
I want to win games at the end of the game for guys who know how to play defense.
All right. I'm gonna keep your wingers. Defense, I'll keep Heiskanen. And I'm gonna put I don't know. Slavin.
Good choice.
Mm-hmm.
They're down 1-0 in their series.
I know. That's so this team could be extinct.
Slavin's a good pick.
And the goalie, I'll put Ottinger. So there we go.
That's a good pick too. I like that.
Not bad.
Good.
It's a lot of good choices still.
No, but those are good. I like those.
Yep.
Like Ottinger's a good pick, but it's hard to bet against a champ.
I get what you're saying though about having Barkov in there. At the end of the game, that's
just why I did. I mean,
yep.
I look at I'm watching Draisaitl last night. He was ticked off. Like I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah,
I want that. You know what I
He's
mean?
gonna be, if you're looking for props tomorrow in game 2,
I would not be afraid to have him on the prop.
All right, next question. From P. What are your thoughts on all the goalie contact throughout these playoffs? Does something need to change?
Yeah, they start calling penalties.
Mm-hmm.
100%. Great pickup. Start calling penalties. I didn't like that one the other night.
No.
Svechnikov into the head of Bobrovsky. No. Didn't like that one. I didn't like. I know Bennett hit his old teammate Stolarz in the Toronto series, and I think it did play a role in the outcome of the series. I do.
Yep.
But I don't think Bennett did that as much on purpose. Svechnikov, that was on purpose.
That was flagrant. That
was on purpose.
That was flagrant. By the way, too, did you notice Ekblad get away with it wasn't on who was it on? Yeah.
Right in the crease.
Another one. Like in nothing. Like
I had a pro player say to me, if I were playing against him, I'm telling you right now, like I might get suspended, but I would put my stick right through his face.
Yeah.
Because if I knew he was coming, I'd pick it up and I'd put it right through his face.
That might happen.
That's what a pro player said to me the other day.
Yeah. I mean, if the officials aren't going to take care of it, the players
that's what he said. He said he'll never do that again. That's what the guy said to me. I'm like, okay, I'm your friend. Don't do it to me. I already lost my teeth. I don't need to listen like that.
All right. Next question. P, question. Over the years, what player do you first think of when it comes to a guy who could have thrived in the league, but just ended up going to the wrong team, wrong situation, and didn't work out?
That's a really good question. Yeah, I can't answer that one as quick. I'd have, because that's happened to a fair number of guys. They get buried. You got one?
Yeah, there's one right at the tip of my tongue for the Bruins. Oh, come back to me. I'm gonna have to think about that.
Yeah, I got to think about
right there, trying to travel.
But it's a good question, especially with the draft coming up. It's a really good question.
Yep. All right, next question. TG, why do the Islanders have a problem attracting high-end free agents? Seems like ownership is willing to spend, but they don't seem to have any takers year after year.
Because they're in a really tough neighborhood. And I don't mean that because it's a bad place to live. Long Island's one of the nicest places in the world to live. But what's the bright lights and the big flash of that area? It's Manhattan. It's Broadway. And, where UBS Arena is, that's not Manhattan and that's not Broadway.
Yeah.
So it's hard, And then just up the road, you got a team like Boston. It's not that far away. Jimmy knows.
Yeah.
It's about a 2.5 to 3 hour drive. It's not that far. So they're in a tough neighborhood.
Even the Devils are attracting free agents.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people that are watching this have never been to Bergen County, New Jersey, or have never been to Essex County, New Jersey.
Yep.
Or they haven't been down, the Jersey Shore. New Jersey's not the state that you see in all these TV shows.
Yeah.
New Jersey's got a lot of nice spots.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of money there. Trust me.
There's significant money. Go to Alpine, New Jersey. Go to Englewood, New Jersey. Go to Tenafly, New Jersey. Go go to Oradell, New Jersey, go to Ridgewood, New Jersey, and then you get back to me and say, oh, I didn't know those places existed. New Jersey is a pretty highfalutin state.
All right. Ron LaRoque, by the way, posting just there in our comments section. It's confirmed now. Not that Shanahan's to the Islanders yet, but he is done in Toronto.
Yeah, we knew that.
We knew that.
Ron, thank you, Ron. Thank you.
Ron, it was interesting how they gave him permission before they announced he was done.
You knew. Look at right after that happened, I got in touch with Jimmy and I said, there's going to be fallout here, and it's not going to be Treliving, and it's not going to be the coach.
Yeah,
it's going to be above them.
Oh, yeah.
And it has happened because one of the things you need to know, and I'm sure people have figured this out, the corporate community in Toronto is substantial for the well-being of their team. And it's not just for tickets and merchandise. It's for buying advertising. It's for having faith in the organization. And I think after all these years and all the bitter disappointments, and I'm not hanging this all on Brendan. I'm not. I'm telling you. But in order for them to get market credibility back, which is what they're going to have to work hard this summer to do, they needed a different voice. It couldn't be Brendan's. And I think now it's going to be Keith Pelly more than ever. I think Keith Pelly's going to have a massive voice in this whole thing.
And it's going to be good.
But look, I'm biased.
Yep.
But I worked for that man for 10 years, and I did 1, 2, 3 Olympic Games for him. He's a special cat. He's a different guy, man.
He's a visionary. All right.
That DP World Tour in golf, you know how big it is?
Yep.
That's him.
Yep.
That's
him for sure. All right. Listen, we want to thank our great guest, Jack Michaels. Great to hear from him. Yep. Breaking down game 1 of the Western Conference Final and looking ahead to game 2. Thanks to everyone in the comments section for your questions there. We appreciate it. Thanks to Shane working the boards. And Pierre, you enjoy the hockey tonight, my friend. And we will talk tomorrow. I can't believe it's already Friday. This week flew by.
Yeah, crazy how fast it went.
I know. Jeez. All right. We will talk to you tomorrow here on the Eye Test on the Sick Podcast Network.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Eye Test with Pierre McGuire and Jimmy Murphy on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.